Slight clarification before we start. I knew of this archetype way before I made that announcement that I've researched every single archetype that is eligible for this review. However, when I made that statement and researched every single archetype from the Wikia page, this archetype was not, how should I say, was not considered an archetype by the Wikia. For example, it was like the clock lineup, you know, Clock Dragon, Clock Lizard, Clock Spartoy, and Clock Wyvern. It was that one bunch of card that when you look at them on the Wikia page, it does not say it's part of the clock archetype. It was the same thing with this Barbaros archetype, which was used by this guy who also used the coach archetype, and I believe I did not even know what he was called back then. But I researched it for this video. It's Daisuke Katagiri. But anyway, back on this, this archetype was like the clock archetype. It was part of the Barbaros archetype did exist, but when you look at each of the cards from on the Wikia page, it does not say it's part of the Barbaros archetype. But now the Wikia has been updated to make them to treat it as an archetype, so yeah, which makes it eligible for our review. Anyway, this is a very short archetype consisting of only 4 monsters, so let's get on with it, shall we? We start off with Machine Lord Urs, and a very obscure level 4, which has the effect that it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and if this card attack or is attacked, your opponent takes no battle damage. So essentially it has the Sunday and Time Lord second effect, where no one takes damage from battles involving it. But yeah, the only purpose of this thing is lore reasons why this thing is part of an archetype. And yeah, that's about as far as it goes, as this effect literally has nothing to do with the archetype in any sort of fashion, so yeah, lore it is then. Next up we have the poster boy for the archetype, that being Beast King Barbaros, and the first card with Barbaros in its name. Anyway, you can normal summon it or set it without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1900. Or you can tribute 3 monsters in order to tribute summon it, but not set it. And if it is summoned this way, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. And yes, this was actually a pretty popular card to base some older decks around, because not only is it a level 8 3000 beat stick, which is also a target for trade, and you can also normal summon it without tributing by making its attack 1900, which is actually pretty alright attack value for a monster which you can normal summon without tributing, of course. And not to mention, it can be a very good card in rank 8 spam variants, and like I said already, it's a trade-in target. And basically monsters which can produce 3 monsters at once without eating up your normal summon, you can basically make it a field nuke for your opponent. So yeah, building decks around this thing is usually a very fun idea. And not to mention, I've even seen some Fortune Lady builds utilize this card, because they can actually produce some nasty boards, especially with the new support that they received. And next up we have Beast Machine King Barbaros Urs, and yeah, now you know how the Machine Lord Urs falls under the archetype. It's also a level 8, but this time it has 800 more attack points. And you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing a machine monster and 1 beast warrior type monster from your hand, field, and or graveyard. And if this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent takes no battle damage. The second effect is literally the same as Machine Lord Urs, and the only benefit from this thing is basically the summoning condition, which is slightly costly because of the amount of resources you need to summon him and what the resources are, because you are not in the right mind running both machines and beast warrior type monsters in the same deck unless the anime exclusive Beastborg archetype gets printed, which will result in this card seeing a lot more play than it does right now. And yeah, you can skip this one unless you find some consistent way to pull off its summoning condition. And the final card of this archetype is the retrain of the Beast King Barbaros, that being King Beast Barbaros. It has the exact same stats as the original, and yeah, and it's one of the funnier retrains because they literally swapped the word order in the name. Anyway, this card cannot attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and you can only use each of the following effects of King Beast Barbaros once per turn. You can either tribute monsters whose total level equal 8 or more to special summon this card from your hand, or you can banish a Barbaros monster from your graveyard or face up from the field and target 2 cards your opponent controls and destroy them. This is actually a pretty decent retrain, all things considered, because it shares the first effect of Machine Lord Urs, which is actually pretty nice this time around. And of course, you get 2 effects, which are all pretty powerful. The first effect is basically a different flavor of Machina Fortress, which allows a very generic special summoning condition, which can result in a nasty 8k 3k beat stick with a level 8, which can be then used for level 8 spamming. And not to mention the second effect is literally a straight upgrade over, well, anything else, because you can basically normal summon the Beast King Barbaros, the original one, and then tribute him in order to get this thing, which provides the graveyard with the graveyard fuel for this thing's second effect. And double popping is, of course, always nice. And if you somehow manage to summon the Beast King Barbaros with its triple tribute effect, which is the harder version to pull it off, you can basically nuke the opponent's field, and if your opponent has a bunch of floating effects which manages to spawn 2 additional cards onto the field, you can basically use this as a second resort or last resort option to clear the field once more. So yeah, very versatile. So yeah, Beast King Barbaros and King Beast Barbaros are actually see some very nice side deck play, if anything. And now for the grades, of course everything will get a 1 out of 3. Except for the versatility part, because Beast King Barbaros and King Beast Barbaros can actually see very prominent play in basically any Beast Warrior type deck because of their generic splashability and, well, generic utility regarding their effects. Beast King Barbaros is basically a nice normal summonable beat stick, while King Beast Barbaros is a nice extension on top of that guy's usefulness. So yeah, it's a bit shame that the level. And I would have actually loved it if you could actually do something about Beast King Barbaros's level, where you can, like, when it's summoned, its level becomes 4, so you can use stuff like Fire Formation Tenki in order to boost its attack a little bit, or use it in stuff like Fire Kings and Fire Avatars in order to go into into some rank 4 Xyz plays. But rank 8 pulls are usually more than enough to do the job with these guys as tech choices. So yeah, I'm not going to go much deeper into this. But anyway, we are done with this archetype, and now we finally wait for the Collection Pack 2020 archetype bunch to hit the to be revealed and to hit the OCG when the pack itself gets released. But anyway, I'll see you all next time. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as usual, I'll upload the next video whenever I can. See you all. Have a good day and peace.